Hey, welcome to the John Trager Show. And if you're new here, this is the show where I don't pretend to be one consistent personality because I'm not, and neither are you. This season, you're going to meet the parts that actually built my life, not characters I invented, parts forged through life. And today, you're going to meet one of the biggest ones, the one that changed everything. This part is called the parent. And before you picture, a dad in a minivan, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the part inside of you that has to stand up when you don't necessarily feel like doing things, but things need to be done. The parent is the part of you that says, I know you're tired, but we need to get this done. It's the part of you that says, hey, I know you're scared, but we're going to show up anyway. And for a long time, I didn't want this part. I ran from it. I avoided it because the thought of being the parent, well, kind of felt like my life was over. Like I thought, no fun, no adventure, no music, no chaos, no debauchery, just responsibility and boredom. And I've worked in payroll for 20 years. I've done my time. But the truth is, the parent didn't come to ruin my life. It come to save it. The parent stepped up onto the stage on April 29th, 2011. That was the day my dad died. And I just want to say something here, and it might sound a little bit strange, but my dad was safety. Not because of what he did for me, but just knowing he existed in the world made the world feel safe. He was wise and he always knew what to do. And then one day, he was gone. I watched him take his final breath, and my entire world just stopped. I walked down the corridor, through the automatic doors of the hospital, and the cold air just hit my face. And I just thought, my whole world's come crashing down in front of me, and outside, the rest of the world has just continued on. I went and sat in my car, and I felt alone. I felt like I was in shock. And for the first time, I didn't feel safe. And I didn't realize it at the time what was happening. But a part of me stepped forward and it said, it's okay. We'll get through this. And I didn't feel strong. And I didn't feel capable. But the parent doesn't show up when you're ready. The parent shows up when it's necessary. All right, I want to be honest. The parent saved my life because I had depression. And I don't mean sad days. I mean dark, heavy, and hopeless. The kind of depression where you stop asking the question, how can I fix myself? And you start wondering, how am I going to get through the day? And if I'm honest, there were moments where it stopped being about, how do I get through to the end of the day? And it started being about, how do I end it? And I'm not saying it for shock value. I'm saying it because it was real. I know there are people watching this that have either been there or are in that place right now. I want to tell you what I've learned. You don't get out of it by waiting for motivation. You don't get out of it waiting to feel good. You've got to step up and you've got to parent yourself. And it's one step at a time, one day at a time. First, you get out of bed, then you have a shower. You try to do one thing. Maybe you go for a walk and you stop feeding the spiral. It's not glamorous. It's not inspiring. It's just self-leadership. It's the parent saying, we're not dying in this chapter. We're not quitting now. And I had to be that voice for myself. And then in 2019, Poppy came into my life and everything changed because love, well, love does something to you. I mean, real love, not performative love, not look at me love. I mean that love that you feel all the way through your body. And when I met her and I thought, I want to be her parent, it wasn't like, oh, cool, now I'm a stepdad. It was much deeper than that. Everything inside me said, this is my daughter. And what made it real was that Poppy's dad had passed away. There wasn't this typical two men in her life, a tug of war of values. There was this space, this need, and a role that really mattered. And I remember thinking, I've parented myself out of depression. I know how to keep someone alive, how to keep them safe, how to keep them steady. And here's this little human being that I love. This is where I'm supposed to be. So the parent stopped being theoretical, something I used on myself, and it became something I lived every day. And here's the part that a lot of people don't tell you. Being a parent is the hardest job in the entire world. It has forced every single part of me to have to grow up. My emotions have had to regulate. I've had to learn to slow down. And I've had to tell selfishness to shut up. Because when you're a parent, you don't get to just follow your mood. You don't get to just fall apart. And you don't get to be chaotic and call it authentic. You have to be safe. You need to be consistent. And you need to be love and leadership all at the same time. So when I say the parent, I don't mean just talking about parenting children. I mean the part of you that has to become an adult inside your own life. The part of you that stops blaming the world, stops blaming your childhood, stops blaming your parents, stops blaming your ex, and stops blaming your emotions and says, all right, it's on me now. And I want to be really clear. This is not about being hard, being cold, or being a robot. It's not the parent part of you saying, shut up and suffer. It's the parent part of you saying, I see you and I'm not going to abandon you. And that's the difference. My job isn't to be perfect. My job is to be safe. Safety is responsibility. It's the part of me that says, no one's coming to save you. but I'm here. And if you've never had that voice in your life, you can build it. If you've never felt that kind of safety, you can create it. That's what I did. And that's what I'm here trying to show you now. Not with motivational quotes, but with real life. And if you're listening to this and you're thinking, yeah, John, but I didn't have a parent that made me feel safe. I didn't have stability. I didn't have love. I just want to slow things down for a moment. And I just want to say this. You deserve that. You deserve to feel safe. You deserve to feel seen. And you deserve to have felt heard. And I want you to know that if you didn't have that, you can create it for yourself. You can learn to reparent yourself. I'm not going to beat around the bush. It's not easy, but it is doable, and you don't have to do it alone. It's not the kind of work I do personally, but I know some amazing coaches who do. And one of them that I'd like to recommend is a coach named Matt Lavaz. Matt is someone who's taught me a lot about emotional regulation and intimacy through the coaching world. And in my opinion, Matt is one of the most incredible examples of someone who's learned to reparent themselves. So if this episode hits something in you, I'd recommend that you reach out to someone like Matt. Because parenting isn't just about having kids. It's about becoming that safe place that you always needed. So that's the parent. It wasn't born from a self-help book. It was born from necessity, from grief, from survival, from love. If you've been watching this and you've been trying to fix yourself because you're messy, you're a bunch of contradictions, you're too emotional, you're too much, I want you to hear this. You're not broken. You're a human. And you don't have to kill off parts of yourself. You just need to learn how to lead them. Because there is no one version of me. Like you, I'm a collection of parts. And these parts go together to make the John Trager Show. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. And I can't wait to see you in the next episode where you get to meet another part of me. And I can tell you, this part's got its own soundtrack.